You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast, where we're talking IPL team previews. We're about to get on to the Royal Challengers Bangalore, but before we do, a little reminder to you to like and subscribe to the Cricket Pod wherever you are listening or watching right now. We had a really good response to the first IPL preview, which dropped today, so that will give you a barometer of when we're recording versus when this gets actually released itself. And we want to hear more from you, so leave us a comment. Leave us a review. Get in touch on Twitter at the Cricket Pod and join in with all the fun. RCB. We're about to get on to them. The Royal Challengers Bangalore. Coached by Andy Flower and captained by Faf du Plessis. They haven't done a kit launch yet, fellas, and I'm a little bit disappointed by this. That's not going to happen until the 19th of March, but Ross, I don't know if you want to speculate. Yeah, and they'll have that green kit that they wear for one day because the Chinnaswamy, as we well know, is I think the first net zero cricket stadium in the world, carbon neutral cricket stadium. So if that isn't a reason to support this side, I don't know. I don't know what is.
Well, it might be the only one.
There's a lot of reasons to support RCB. I think they're a very likable franchise. They put their fans through hell on a regular basis, and I think on paper this team is set up to put you through hell. So let's get on to that. Some strengths. I think the batting is pretty good on paper, boys. Faf du Plessis and Kohli opening up. Patidar at number 3. Cameron Green, Glenn Maxwell, Dinesh Karthik. That's a nice top 6. Maybe Dinesh Karthik dropping down to 7, and you slot a domestic guy in to pack out the middle order if you really, really want to. And Siraj was really good last year. Like that's a big strength. One of the best seam bowlers in the league. And if you adjust for where he had to bowl his overs, there's potentially an argument that you could even have him as number 1. I think Shami probably wins, but he had a really good season. Max, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, are they going to be at risk of Siraj's law though at this point? Because if he was good last year, it does mean that it's almost impossible that he'll be good again this year.
Yes, they are. I don't think there's any doubt that a reversion to Siraj's historical mean is a possibility, but let's give him credit. As far as we know right now, he's about as good as he was last year. His economy was 7.5. He bowled at the hardest place. That is the hardest place to bowl. So well done. And he picked up 19 wickets. He wasn't just like the stopping runs. He was great. He was a proper player. Weaknesses. So we had the top 6. That's good, and that's a big thing to have. And then Siraj is another big thing to have. But I would say most of the other things related to RCB are kind of questionable. So let's start with their captain. At this point in his career, and with the players available to RCB, I'm not sure he's in their best 11, but I don't really know what they can do about that. They're probably just going to have to play him and hope for the best. Then we get to the conundrum that is their spin department. Now they have kind of 4 spinners that they could call upon: Khan Sharma, Mayank Degar, Swapnil Singh, Himanshu Sharma. And I think last season they didn't all play for RCB, but I think all of them got a game for somebody. None of them played a lot because most of them were quite bad, but I think all of them got a game for somebody. Take them cumulatively, if you look at their stats cumulatively, they'd be probably the worst spin attack in the IPL. And I can't really see, and I've looked at this from different angles, looked back at historical stats and stuff like that, looked at lower level things. I can't really see how any of them are going to break out and be a good spinner, particularly taking into account the fact that they bowl at the Chinnaswamy, which is about as big as my back garden. And as flat as the roadiest road that ever roaded. They don't really have anything in the overseas department that could come in and step in to back this up either. I mean, like Glenn Maxwell can turn his arm over, not a bad part-timer, but really...
He'll be bowling pretty much 4 overs a game, surely.
And that's
Probably their
them.
best or second best option.
And they released Hataranga, right? They released one of the best leg spinners in the world, who went then for base price to a direct rival. That is not big brain cricket.
No, it isn't big brain cricket. You could probably throw on top of that like the seamers that are going to back up Siraj. I'm not sure how well that works. They've got some overseas options. They've got Akashdeep, yeah. They do have Akashdeep, and they spent 6 crore on Yash Dayal, who might also make their.
It did get
well. I mean, Yash Dayal had the second worst economy of all bowlers to bowl 60 balls in the IPL last year. After Arshad, the random ticket winner, who got a couple of games somewhere.
We'll be rounding off the top 3 later on.
So it's look. I think it's fair to say it's a little bit of a mess. The bowling is a little bit of a mess. I mean, I can't see Cameron Green coming to solve it. And I'd say this is potentially a low key weakness in relative to the bowling. But Maxwell aside, they have a pretty dubious record against spin when it comes to their batting. So Kohli, last season, he struck at 112 against spin. Faf du Plessis 126, and Green 116, which is slow. Like, none of those guys are doing well against spin. So relying a lot on Maxwell, who is amazing, but just one guy to kind of balance that off. And then if I'm allowed one more weakness, I don't really. So they've got Topley, Azari, Joseph, and Ferguson on the bench,
and Tom Curran.
And Tom Curran. No, I think that's fair to throw Tom Curran in, kind of. I think we can assume that they're going to play Maxwell, and they're going to play Faf du Plessis, and they're going to play Cameron Green. Yeah. So they can only play one of them, which means that the whole team, you then have to play like Akashdeep and Yash Dayal in some capacity to make up the rest of the overs. Or 2 of the absolute crap spinners.
They are literally bowling quite a lot of the allocation.
So yeah, it's a.
Oh, I've solved it.
Go on.
Kohli's going to bowl.
Yep.
If it happens, I'll give you £1.
Ooh.
A 1 whole pound.
Yes. What car are they? Do you want me to do the car, or do you guys want to weigh in? I'll do the car. Shall I? Go on, Max.
Yeah, do the car. I'll weigh in then. So I look at this side and I'm just like, what? Why? What are you doing? Because they've got so many good players, and half of them aren't going to play. Will Jacks, you haven't even mentioned Will Jacks. Like, he's insane. He's so good, and he won't get a look in. He'll just be understudy to Glenn Maxwell. And yeah, like they've spent all this money on people who aren't going to bowl for them because they can't fit them in the team, and it just doesn't make any sense. They just it's like a reverse CSK. Like, they haven't thought about what they need and where they need it. They've just gone to a sweet shop and gone, oh, I do quite like that one, and then realised they've come away with a kilo of cola bottles and they can't finish them.
Yeah. Roth?
Well, what I like about this team is that when you look at it on paper, you don't recognise half the names on there. Even the most RCB fan will be like, "Who the hell is that?" And sometimes I look at this team and they almost like go, "We need recognition. Like, we judge our teams by the name recognition of a thing," and they go from an average, and they're just like, "Well, everyone knows Virat Kohli," and then they could pick literally a random person off the street, and it actually averages it out as they're the most popular team going. So it's a very, very difficult team to surmise. But I just like they are a bit of a joke, and RCB fans know that, and that is painful for them because they deserve better, and Virat Kohli deserves better. It's like Harry Kane playing at Spurs; like, he was surrounded by some lesser people the majority of the time, and Virat Kohli's kind of in that bucket. And I just don't think he's going to walk away with an IPL title to his name at RCB.
He could, and then he'll go to CSK, and for once they won't win either. And Punjab King will win the whole thing.
That would be kind of funny. I mean, I think, like, you say that about Virat, and I think Virat historically has had his up and down years in the IPL. Some really, really good ones, and some couple of pretty bad ones as well. I think him being quite overvalued, Cameron Green being quite overvalued, And
They traded for him. They didn't even
They
buy him.
gave
They
Mumbai
traded
the
for him.
opportunity to get Hardik. It's all their
well,
fault.
what it suggests to me, Ross, and or Max, or both of you, Max, your point about the sweet shop's kind of true. Is again, I think these are one of those teams that don't really know how to value players properly. Maybe it's either a name recognition thing. They're just picking like, oh, he's the best new all rounder. Cameron Green will get him, and hope for the best. He was quite good for Mumbai last year, wasn't he? And in fairness, he was. But does he solve the problems that you had before? I'm slightly dubious about that. And then they've stacked talent in areas where they kind of won't be able to get it on the pitch. And the captaincy thing, I like Faf, and he's had a really good career. But I think there's a relatively strong argument that Will Jacks should be playing over Faf du Plessis in this team, bearing in mind he can bowl and he goes absolutely bonkers early, which is exactly the kind of player that you want if you play all your games on a postage stamp. So anyway, look, car I've gone for. Basically, they couldn't afford the car they wanted. They wanted the Bugatti La Voiture Noire, which I am reliably informed is the most expensive car that one can buy, £14.4 million. They've tried to buy one of those, but they ran out of money, so all they've got is a door and a steering wheel. They don't have a car. They've just got a very expensive piece of furnishing, basically, for their front room. They're like one of those. You do get creeps like that, don't you? Buy like a Ferrari door for 20
That's true.
grand.
Like, there are people who buy the little bit that goes at the front of Rolls Royces and Mercedes and things, aren't there? Like that.
What about if they've taken the seats out and that's their sofa? Maybe that is the vibe.
Oh, they've definitely got a racing car bed, haven't they?
Racing car bed.
Racing car bed. This is a racing
car bed. That's what RCB stands for.
Right, let's try and do a playing 11 here. Faf du Plessis, Virat Kohli, Rajat Patidar, Cameron Green, Maxwell, Dinesh Karthik. I'm just saying they're going to bat in that order. They probably won't. They could bat in any order. Then they're going to play a crap spinner, I think. Not sure which one of the four, and I think they've all got negative points. It's sort of which crap guy do you want to try to play?
Which one?
I think he played last year.
Look, Khan Sharma did play 7 matches. I think his economy rate was 10, but he did pick up a few wickets. So it's not Khan Sharma might be the best bet to start the season. Like not there's something there.
Well, no one could tell you though last season what standout performance Khan Sharma had, because I don't remember him playing, and I watched nearly every single game of the IPL.
I don't think they were standout performances. I think maybe he took 2 or 3 wickets in one match. Max, why don't you look that up? I've literally in my note 11, I've just written crap spinner. I haven't even specified which one. Then Akashdeep, Siraj, and Topley, and then that will mean Yash Dayal and Lumraw are my kind of impact sub guys, which I think is not the worst impact sub guys you can have. I don't know. I think they're fucked basically.
Well, you're gonna have like a monstrous season from a couple of players. I just don't think they've got it. If they do fit in Alzarri Joseph, at least they've got kind of like you can play him for a couple of games, rest him, Lockie Ferguson, kind of a like for like replacement, that kind of stuff, perhaps. But I don't know.
So okay, so are you saying you rotate through? I've just put Topley down here because he started.
Yeah, I think they rotate. I think Alzarri Joseph is a really, really good player. I think he's demonstrated that in the IPL. I was surprised to see him released actually, but I think in Lockie Ferguson and Alzarri Joseph, they've got quite a similar skill set. I think there. Topley offers something a little bit different, obviously up front in the power play, and they might want to look to attack there. But as you say, he's not going to be able to fit into the squad all the time.
They play at the Chinnaswamy, as I said, the Eco Ground, also a bowler's graveyard. Just absolutely no hope for anybody that has to go and play cricket there if you're a bowler, unless you're Siraj, apparently. And I think another negative is that this isn't really a team set up to dominate there as well. Like Virat Kohli, much as everyone likes him, he's not an out and out rope clearer. He's like a range of shots kind of guy. And I think you want someone more on the Chris Gale end of the spectrum the Virat Kohli end of the spectrum. To
I think his
pluck
value on
a
this
former
team,
RCB player out of the air.
yeah, I think his value to this team is that he kind of gets them to batting 20 overs if they that is not really that exciting. But you got to play every ball, and he tries to maximise that, but it's not that great.
Yeah, if you want a comparison team, so there's another team that play at a bit of a bowler's graveyard, or did last year, and that was Mumbai. If you look at Mumbai against RCB, and this is why I think RCB probably won't make the playoffs, Mumbai have got better batters and they've got Bumrah, and that means they're set up to dominate a place that's going to be very difficult to bowl in. RCB just aren't. Ultimately, fellas, look, I'm reluctant to say, and we haven't really talked about him at all. I'm reluctant to say that any team with Maxwell in, who is a freak genius, I'm reluctant to say that they haven't got a chance. But
they've also got Cam Green. Cam Green's decent.
Yeah, I think they need some pretty big performances and probably a little bit of luck to make the playoffs. Is where I come down. Max, what do you think?
Yeah, they're going to have to score a lot of runs. That's the thing, because they've got a real deficit to make up for with their bowling, I think, and they have the players that could do that, but it's the kind of thing that isn't sustainable over a long period. So I'm with you. I think they'll miss out, but I reckon they'll be in the conversation into the latter stages, I think.
Ross?
No chance.
Satwick asked, is playoff qualification going to be a formality for RCB, considering Andy Flower is the head coach? Are you not going to take into account the Andy Flower vibes?
I do like it, but I just think that they've made mistakes in the setup of their team, and they didn't need to as well. So if I was an RCB fan, I'd be so frustrated that they swapped for Cam Green because they had loads of money in the purse, right? They shot themselves in the foot twice. They not only made a competitor much stronger, they also made themselves maybe slightly better on the cricketing side, but actually the players they could have got with the money that was then spunked up the wall has meant that this team has got major flaws, and not all of the other teams have actually major flaws. They've got some flaws. Here they've got Siraj and one of the overseas bowlers. That's literally their bowler with a part-time Maxwell. That's ropey. That's like 10 overs if you're lucky. That's got like a good overs. Half the other time,
Maxwell,
you're rolling the bloody dice.
Maxwell will fall off a golf cart at some point and miss a couple of games. So what do they do?
But then Will Jacks to come straight in, like for like replacement.
Yeah. Fair enough. Right, look, we're going to wrap up there. We're going to come back in a moment with Kolkata Knight Riders. Just a reminder, one more time. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us why we're wrong about RCB. Go on. I dare you.
Do it.